Now, at a time when we so often hear about historic buildings falling into dereliction, one West Clare community is proving what can be achieved with determination and local pride. St Kieran's Community Centre in Labasheeda, originally built as a church almost 200 years ago, 1837, has been given a fresh boost thanks to a new grant supporting ongoing restoration work. And for more on this, I'm joined in studio by Liam Woulfe from Labasheeda, who braved the conditions out there, and we really appreciate him doing that to join us this morning. Liam, good to see you again. Thanks for coming in.
Good morning, Alan. Glad to be here.
Now, this building, fantastic building, it was where I met yourself and other community members for the Labasheeda episode of the Village Tour, and repurposed as a community centre, an old Protestant church and a Catholic and a lovely church. Tell us a bit more about it and how it ended up becoming a community centre.
I suppose giving you a potted history, a quick history. The building, it was built in 1837. It's a cruciform building, as a lot of churches were at that time. So it served the community up until 1977, when the new church was built across the road. The building was decommissioned then as a church, and it was sold to Shannon Development, where there was a factory in it for a while making board games. Yeah, unusual. And then it came back into the community's ownership again after that, and everything that happens in Labasheeda, all hands on deck from people in the community. They came in, and I suppose just to visualise it for people who don't know the building, the two side aisles of the cruciform church is what became the community centre. The long aisle section of the building, which is the one we're discussing now, that was all blocked up for years. There was a doorway down there. All the original windows were Gothic style windows, were all blocked up, and it was used on occasion, I suppose, mainly for the set dancing weekend, where you would have the overspill in there, and food and drink and things like that down there. So I suppose for many years we were looking and saying, what can we do with it, or what should we do with it? So we made a couple of attempts at getting national grants, and eventually in 2023 we received a substantial grant under the Town and Village Renewal Scheme. And the grant is specifically for that, to repurpose that long aisle area. So I suppose then between the jigs and the reels and contractors and tenders and all that sort of thing, eventually we got going back in around October. So it's the local contractor, Labcon, the O'Neill family, who have very strong connections with the building.
And probably good to have some locals doing it, because they'll appreciate the building more than bringing in outsiders. So you mentioned the windows. That's going to be part of the restoration work. Is there anything else involved in it, or is it predominantly around the windows themselves?
I suppose most of our thinking and discussions went around what we should do with the windows. So, because of the nature of the building and the history attached to the building, we took a long time before we made a decision that we would put in original style wooden windows, because that's what would have been in the building originally. So obviously that was a very expensive part of the work, but we decided that really had to be done, and we're just delighted that we have done that. So you have these Gothic style windows that have been returned to the building. Internally then the ceiling was insulated and slabbed, and you can still see the old king trusses, as they call them. So we're kind of halfway, 2/3 through the project. There's outside work to be done on the bell tower, and then there are electrics, and we have a little bar down there. So we're kind of halfway, 3/4 ways through the work at the moment.
Okay, well, you've a good lot of it done. So, and when do you expect it to be finished? And will that be the end of it? You were showing me a sheet. Are you looking for again the community, or maybe even people from Labasheeda who have moved around the county, the country, or across the Atlantic, wherever they might be now? Can they help out in terms of continued restoration work with the church?
Well, with a building like that, you're never finished.
Never done.
Really, you're never done. So I suppose the focus at the moment is to get this section of the building done and to get it back into use. And obviously, there's this work is going to cost over 300,000. So we're hoping to raise funds to do the rest of it. Now, just going back a step there, we have been very fortunate to get a substantial gift from Jim and Amy Keane and their family, and they live in the United States of America. Jim's father was the late Henry Keane from Labasheeda, and Henry and his wife Maureen, who was a very proud Kerry woman, they came back on holidays regularly and kept the interest, and Jim has always kept in contact and had a great interest in what's happening locally. So just to say, we're very grateful to Jim and Amy and their family, who have given us a substantial donation in memory of his parents, Henry and Maureen.
Well, fair play to them. And if anyone else with Labasheeda connections over in the States is listening, dollars very much welcome. We look forward to chatting to you when the work is done. It really is a fabulous building, and it's great to see it repurposed as a community centre. I'm sure it was great when it was making board games, bizarrely enough, but it's better as a community centre, that is for sure. Liam,
just before we finish, we do have a new website which gives all the details. So if you Google Labasheeda Hall or St. Kieran's Community Centre, you will see all details of what is going on and the fundraising efforts that we're now undertaking to just to complete the work, and also to do some upgrading in the kind of the main community centre building that we have been using since 1988.
Well, the last time I was there, we had a lovely cup of tea and biscuits sitting outside in the sun. I look forward to maybe doing that inside the fully restored church next time I'm there, / community centre. That's St. Kieran's Community Centre. Great to see the grant is helping, and anyone else who wants to help out, Liam has given the details. Liam, thank you very much for travelling. Safe journey home to Labasheeda. Liam Woulfe with us on Morning Focus.